Hello my dear students, once again I welcome you all in this lecture series on Angiosperm taxonomy. Today we are seeing the third lecture in this series on stem types and its modifications. Myself, Dr. PITAMBAR HUMANE, founder Botany for You and working as Associate Professor and Head Department of Botany, Dharampeth M Deo Memorial Science College, Nagpur, Maharashtra. If we see the stem, then we will find certain differences among the stem and the roots, as we have seen the root in the second lecture of this lecture series. Although the stem resembles roots superficially, but can be distinguishable from roots by the presence of following features: presence of nodes and internodes, which are found to be altogether absent in the roots; then presence of scaly leaves, buds and adventitious roots at the nodes; then internal structure resembles that of aerial stem and not of root; then presence of flowers and the fruits. This is most important character for the stem if we are going to study the angiosperm taxonomy, because if we find any structure on which if there is a development of the leaf or the development of the flower, then whatever the part we are observing in the nature, we must confirm that that part is a stem, because the development of the leaves and the flower is a characteristic feature of the stem and not the other part. If we are finding leaf-like structure, but on that there is a development of the flower, then we must consider that it is a modification of the stem, but it is looking like to that of the leaf. Here this topic is included in the stem itself, because if we see the habit of the organism, then we will find that the different habit is on the basis of the type of the stem of that particular plant. This is very important whenever we are going to discuss or whenever we are going to describe any plant in angiosperm taxonomy. The first one is herb, and examples are coriander, spinach, fenugreek; then shrub, hibiscus, rose, Calotropis procera; then trees like the neem, mango tree, bubble tree, etc. Then some trailers like the tribulus, euphorbia, mimosa; climbers like the bitter gourd, then antigonon; then twiners like the dolichos, dioscorea; liners like the butia, ventilago, bahunia; epiphytes like the panda, bromeliads; and the parasites like the cuscuta, dendropthy and orobacter. We will see these different habits of the plants in upcoming slides. Here the herbs. In herbs, whenever we are talking about the characteristics of the herb, then just you have to observe the plant. The herbs are the small plants and they will bear the different floral parts, that is the flowers, calyx, corolla, androecium, gynoecium, etc., bearing the leaves on the nodal region of the stem, having the roots in the soil. If you see this plant, they are soft in nature and they are the small plants. Such type of the plants are known as herbaceous or the herbs. The very common example of the herbs which are known to us that are Coriandrum sativum, that is usual spice that we are using at home, also known as the dhania. Then methi, like the Trigonella phoenangracium, which is commonly available as a vegetable at our home. In the similar manner, the another vegetable, that is Spinacia oleracea, that is spinach. Then in addition to that, some wild plants are taken here, that is the Tridax procumbens, which is very common weed in almost every area. Vernonia cinerea of the Asteraceae and Eclipta alba. All these three plants, Tridax procumbens, Vernonia cinerea and Eclipta alba, these are commonly found weeds in almost every area. And all these 6 plants which are given here, they are the herbs, so that we can able to understand actual meaning of the herb. All these 6 plants are soft and delicate. If we compare the shrubs with that of the herbs, then we will find the distinct difference in between these 2 plants. The herbs and the shrubs both may be branched or the unbranched, but usually the shrubs are profusely branched. Here, if you fill these shrubs, then here we will find such type of the branching from the different regions. And because of such type of the development of the branches right from the bases, here it looks like a bushy habit. So such a plant which are bush like or having the bushy habit, they are known as shrubs. Here the presence of trunk in the center is found to be absent, which is characteristic feature of the trees. Here the examples of the shrubs are Rosa indica, that is rose plant, very common ornamental plant, that is China rose, which is Hibiscus rosa sinensis. Then wild plant which is most commonly used in the studies for the family Asclepiadaceae, that is Calotropis procera. Then again the common wild plant, that is Phyllanthus reticulatus of the family Euphorbiaceae. Then Caesalpinia pulcherrima of the family Caesalpiniaceae and Ixora coccinea of the Rubiaceae. These are very common plants which are found in almost every area and are the best examples of the shrubs. Here in all these plants we will not find here the presence of the central trunk, and there is a development of the branches right from the base of the stem. But whenever we are talking about the trees, then you will find that here there is a presence of a central trunk, and which is the identification characteristics of the plant body, and the branches which are growing from above the certain distance. And in this way, here you will find that the presence of the trunk or the stem in the center. Such a type of the habit of the organism or the plant, that is considered as a trees. Here there is a presence of trunk in the center. So such a type of the trunk is found to be absent in the shrub. Though if you try to convert the shrub into the tree, then also there will be development of the branches from the base. But in case of the tree, such a type of the development of the branches from the base is not there, and hence the trees are completely different than that of the shrubs. The very common examples of the trees are known to us, and that is Mangifera indica, that is mango plant. Then Pseudium gajava, that is guava. Then Plumeria alba, which is commonly cultivated plant of the family Apocynaceae, which is commonly called as the chafa in most of the area, but real chafa is different. Then Azadiracta indica, which is the neem. Then Butia monosperma, Palash. Then Pithecellobium dulce. So these are the very common examples of the trees which are found in our area. Then the certain plants having the habit of the trailers, like the Euphorbia hirta, then Tribulus terrestris and Mimosa pudica. These plants usually grow and they are trailing on the surface of the soil, and because of the name is given, they are the trailers. Here the stem is somewhat weak, and because of that, here the plant body is not growing completely straight or erect above the ground, and the plant body grow on the surface, and hence here they are considered as a trailers. The next type of the habit is climbers, and in this type here the examples are given like the Momardica carentia, Karela, then Gloriosa superba, and third one is Antigonon leptopus. All these plants are the climbers. There is a distinct difference in between the climbers and twiners. Here the climbers are provided with the tendrils, and with the help of these tendrils or any other structures like the hooks, they are responsible to climb on a particular support, and hence they are known as climber. In Momardica carentia, there is a presence of the tendril, which is the stem tendril. In Gloriosa superba, there is a presence of a tendril, which is the leaf tendril, develops from the apex of the leaf. And in Antigonon leptopus, the terminal part of the inflorescence grow into the tendrils. The next one is the twiner. There is a distinct difference, as we have said. In case of the twiner, here the plant body is twining around a particular host plant, and such a type of the twining, if it is there, then we can say that here they are known as the twiners. So this is the difference in between this. This will be considered as a host plant, and this is a stem of the twiner. So in this way, without any extra structure on the plant body or on the stem, or without any tendril like structure, it is responsible to twine around the host plant or the any support, then these type of the plants are known as twiners. So most common example are the Dolichos labla. On the basis of this pots, we are able to identify this plant, which is a vegetable or the common vegetable. Then Pergolaria damia of the family Asclepiadaceae, which is also common weed in most of the area, and also the wild plant, that is the Dioscorea bulbifera. So these three plants are responsible to twine around the support. Here we are able to identify the twining stem. So such type of the plants are known as the twiners. If we see the Lina and the twiners are very closely related on the basis of their system of twining around the host or around the support. And the difference in between these two is that the Lina are usually woody. This is the difference in between the twiners and linas. If you see the stem of the twiners, you will find that the stem is herbaceous, but the stem of the lina is woody. And the most common lina are the Bhutia superba of the family Papilionaceae, Bahunia valley of the family Caesalpinaceae, and Ventilago denticulata of the Rhamnaceae are most common examples of the linas. Then epiphytes in the root also we have seen this on the for the epiphytic root or the aerial root. Here we are seeing the habit of that organism in the form of the epiphyte, and the epiphyte are the special type of the plants which are growing on the another plant but only for the support and not for mode of the nutrition. Such a plants which are growing on the another plant for only the support and not for the mode of the nutrition or the food material, then these are known as epiphytes. These includes the Vanda tessellata, which is the most common example, then some of the bromeliads, and most of the orchids are growing on the another plant for the support. Then parasites, in the category of the parasites, they are of the two different types, total parasites as well as the partial parasites. Here the cuscuta is depend upon the other organism for the mode of the nutrition, and it is leafless plant, just a wiry structure which is yellow in color and is growing in on another plant and also absorb the food material. Such a plants which are growing on the another plant and also absorb the some amount of the food material or the complete food material, then they are known as the parasites. Here the cuscuta is a example of the total parasites. In addition to that, the Dendropsis falcata, which is also growing on the another plant but which bear the leaves, and hence it is also responsible to carry out the process of the photosynthesis. But the roots which are growing, they are responsible for the absorption of the water and the mineral from the host plant, and hence it is also dependent upon the host plant. In the similar manner, the Orobanchi crenata is a root parasite and it is growing on the roots of the other plants, and hence these two plants are considered as a partial parasites, while the Cuscuta reflexa is a total parasite on the other plant's body. In the stem, we will see the branching pattern. Usually in the UG and the PG also, there is a question on the branching pattern in the stem. Here the stem is found to be two different type of the branching. First one is considered as a lateral or the axillary branching, and second one, that is dichotomous type of the branching. The branching from the lateral bud is the rule among flowering plants, as the lateral branching or the lateral buds are usually axillary. This may also be called axillary branching. Branching is racemose or the cymose according to the lateral buds are less vigorous or more vigorous than the apical bud, and on that basis here they are classified into the two types, that is racemose or the monopodial branching and cymose or sympodial type of the branching. In racemose type of the branching, it is very often the apical bud of the plant grow indefinitely, giving rise to the straight stem axis or podium on which the lateral buds grow in the acropetal order. Here in this diagram you will able to find out that here there is a formation of the podium or the axis in the center, and here there is a presence of the single podium, and hence it is known as monopodial, while the other branches which are growing from this central axis, they are develops from the lateral buds. Other names for this type are the racemose and indefinite, The last name, that is the indefinite, because in this type the possibility of the vertical growth of the plant is unlimited. This type of branching is commonest among the young phanerogamic plants. But as the plant grow older, the apical bud often get lost and some side branches become very strong so that the plant loses its monopodial characters. The typical monopodial branching can be seen in excurrent trees like the conifers or the master tree like the Polyalthia longifolia, casuarina, etc. If instead of there being a single leaf at each node, there be a whorl of leaves, the branches at each node will also be whorled in the Alstonia plant. So, such a type of the branching pattern is considered as a racemose branching. But if you see or compare this racemose branching to that of the cymose branching, then you will find that here the apical bud is not there. In many tropical trees, as the plant develops, the apical bud get lost and die-side branches develops from it. This gives a different look to the plant body in which we could not find a continuous growth of the central axis or the central stem, just like to that of the mango tree or the jackfruit. In forest, however, the lower side branches cannot develop because of the absence of the light, and the plants here are always tall like the Shorea robusta. As opposed to the above, in some plants, it is the rule that the apical bud do not develop from the early stage and branching of the plant is dependent solely on the lateral branches immediately below the apex. This is called cymose branching. Means here, if we see this racemose and the cymose in a one stroke, just you will consider that R for the racemose and C for the cymose. If there is a regular growth, R for the regular and R for the racemose, in the similar manner C for the cymose and C for the seized. So here it is regular growth of the central axis and the central axis growth is seized. So such a type of the branching is known as racemose and the cymose branching. This cymose branching or sympodial branching is again classified into uniparous cymose, biparous cymose and multiparous cymose. So in uniparous cymose, here the development of the branches on one side only at a time, so that here there is a development of the branches from each side once on one side and again the branch developed from the another side, and this is continuously in a alternate condition, means one branch developed to the left side and another branch developed to the right side. In other cases, there is a development of the branches on one side only. So here there are again the two different types in case of uniparous cymose. If the branches are developing on both the sides alternately, one at a time on one left side and another on the right side, then it is known as scorpioid type of the branching. But if there is a development of the branches on only one side, then such a type of the uniparous cymose or the uniparous branching is known as helicoid type of the branching. Here the second type that is a biparous cymose or the biparous type of the branching, in which we are able to see here from this main axis there is a development of the two branches at a time. This is the difference in between the uniparous and biparous. That is, in the uniparous there is a development of the single branch at a time, but in the biparous there is a development of two branches at a time. But in case of the multiparous, the more than two branches, 3, 4, 5, etc. are developed, and that is known as the multiparous type of the branching. If we see the dichotomous type of the branching, although this type of the branching is practically confined to the cryptogaps, and it is necessary to have some idea of it. The growth of such a plant is by a single apical cell or by a group of such cells which bifurcates or split into and give rise to two apical branches. So, in this manner, we will find that here there is a growth of the branch by the certain cells which are present at the apex, maybe one or the group of the cell, and later on this develops or bifurcate into the two, and this is continuously, and so that here such a type of the branching pattern will be formed. Such a type of the branching in which the every cell which is present at the apex or a group of the cells which are present at the apex, which are bifurcated and forming the branching, such type of the branching is known as dichotomous type of the branching. It is very common in the cryptogams and is almost found to be absent or very rare in the other plants. Here the modifications of stem. The modification of the stem is classified for understanding into the three different categories. The first one, that is underground modification, second one subaerial modification, and third one, that is a aerial modification. In underground there are the rhizome, bulb, corm and tuber. In subaerial, runner, sucker, stolon, offset, and in third one, that is the tendril, thorn, phylloclade, cladode and bulbil. So we will see here all these three different type of the modification of the stem step by step. Here the first one, that is underground modifications of the stem. Now, in this type of the modification of the stem, it is classified into the four different types, that is rhizome, bulb, corm and tuber. The rhizome is fleshy, non-green underground stem, and it has distinct nodes and the internodes, which is the characteristic feature of the rhizome. The nodes bear dry scaly leaves with the axillary buds. Terminal buds are also present in the rhizome. Adventitious roots arise from the lower side, and the rhizome that grow obliquely is called as the rootstock rhizome, which is usually found in the alocasia, Dryopteris and banana, and when grow horizontally is called strangling rhizome, which is commonly found in the ginger, turmeric and the canna plant. If we see the bulb, the best example of the bulb is onion and the garlic. It is highly condensed, discoid stem, and its upper surface or the terminal bud and many of the bulb. Many fleshy scales leaves are present around it. If you see this bulb, you will find that here there are the presence of scaly leaves around it. The bulbs may be tunicated or the scaly. A tunicated bulb is covered by a sheath or dry membranous scaly leaves called as tunic, as usually it is found around the bulb, that is onion, as well as the garlic. In case of the garlic, the bulb consists of an aggregate of the bulblet or the cloves, each covered by its indivisible tunic. So, whenever we have to see the garlic, at that time you will find that the garlic is made up of such a type of the many bulblet, and if we see the each bulblet, then also it is covered with the membranous scales. A scaly bulb is without any tunic in case of the lily plant. So these three different type of the bulbs, that is the onion, second one is the garlic, and third one in the lily, are found. In case of the corms, that it is condensed form of the rhizome growing in vertical direction. If you see this diagram, then you will be able to understand the vertical arrangement of this underground stem. It is more or less spherical with the flattened base. The corm has distinct circular nodes and internodes, and it bears scaly leaves and axillary buds, which is the characteristic feature of the stem. The adventitious roots also develops from the base and all over the body of the corms. Usually the corms are found in Colocasia, Quercus, and the best example is Amorphophallus. The next one is tuber, and the best example of the stem tuber is potato. Stem tuber is a swollen tip of an underground lateral stem, and it is covered by a hoary skin with a number small depression called as the eyes. If you see the structure of the potato, here there are the presence of such type of the eyes on its surface. Each eye represent a node bearing one or more buds subtended by a leaf scar, and from same buds which are present on the surface of the potato or the stem tuber, they grow into the stem. A big scar at one hill end of a potato mark its attachment to the stolon, and the adventitious roots are usually absent. The second type, that is subaerial modifications of the stem, and this includes runner, sucker, stolon, and offset. The runner is a best example, which is cynodon. In this plant, we will find the stem is creeping on the surface, having long internodes, and running horizontally on the soil surface, and from the nodal region here there is a development of axillary buds, scaly leaves, and roots also. These roots which are developing from the nodal region, they are the adventitious roots. The runners arise from the axillary buds. Mother plant often produce a number of runners in all directions. When the stem or the runner which broken down, then because of the presence of the roots on the stem, it may regenerate into the complete organism. An underground runner is also called the sobol, which is found in Agropyron. The second one is a sucker, and it arises from the basal underground part of the main stem. So this is the difference in between the runner and the sucker. Runner grow on the surface of the soil, while in case of the sucker, they are present inside the ground. It grows horizontally for a distance under the soil and then emerges obliquely upward. It develops a leafy shoot and adventitious roots before separating from the mother plant. The common sucker bearing the plants are chrysanthemum, musa, that is banana plant, mentha piperata, strawberry, pineapple, etc. are the best examples of the suckers. Then next one is a stolon. It is a weak lateral branch that arises from the base of the main stem. After growing aerially for some time, it bent downwards to touch the ground. Here we are able to see that this branch later on again touched to the ground, and because of that, here the bud which is present on the nodal region of this branch is responsible to grow into the new plant, where its terminal bud give rise to the new shoot and adventitious roots. The common stolon bearing plants are jasmine, colocasia and vallisneria. Then the offset, it is a short runner with one internode long. It originates from the leaf axil and grow as a short horizontal branch. It produces a rosette of leaves above and adventitious roots below. If you see this plant, then you will find that here there is a development of the rosette of the leaves. This is the pistia plant, and from the lower region there is a development of the roots, and here there is a joining with the help of offset. So such a type of the plants are develops in case of the pistia, which is commonly called as water lettuce. In third type, that is aerial modifications of the stem, the first one is tendril. Earlier we have seen it in the climbers that many stems are modified into the tendrils. There may be stem tendril, maybe the leaf tendril, or maybe the inflorescence or the other part of the flower as a tendril. So the development of the tendril by the stem is found in Passiflora, which is well-known plant, and that is responsible for the climbing of the plant. Then the second one modification is a thorn, that is citrus, as well as the eagle marmelos, that is bale. In both these plants, we will find that here there is a development of the thorns from the stem, or the stem is modified into the thorn. In case of the phylloclade, that is the Opuntia or the Coccoloba, here in Opuntia we are able to see here the stem is modified into a leaf-like structure, and it is responsible to carry out the process of the photosynthesis, as it is a xerophytic plant, and the leaves are reduced to the spines. Such a type of the modified stem, which is looking just like to that of the fleshy leaves, is known as phylloclade, which is commonly found in Opuntia as well as Coccoloba. In fourth one, that is the cladode. In the cladode, here the stem is modified into a small leaf-like structures, which is responsible for the process of photosynthesis, which is found commonly in the asparagus as well as the ruscus. And the next one, that is fifth one, modification of the stem, is a bulbil, and the most common example of the bulbil is a Dioscorea. In Dioscorea, here there is a development of the bulbil from the axil or the joint of the leaf and the stem, and it is used for the vegetative type of the reproduction. Such a type of the bulbils are again the modifications of the stem. In some other plants, even while describing the plants in the Angiosperm taxonomy, we are using the plant as the herbaceous or the woody. Herbaceous means these are the soft, means here the plant cannot be broken down easily, and the plants having the well developed phloem and the xylem, and they are very much hard, that are the woody. Then nodes and the internodes, which is the characteristic feature of the plant body. Then even the stem is circular or angular in outline, which is one of the characteristics of the stem. Then surface of the stem, that is, it may be the hairy, it may the waxy, it may the spiny, or without any structure, that is glabrous. Or in some plants the stem is found to be very reduced or altogether absent. So such a type of the characters of the stem we will have need in the description of the any plant. So thank you very much for your patiently listening. Kindly like, share and subscribe our YouTube channel, and also press bell icon for the alerts of every lecture to be uploaded on Life Science Titles. Thank you.